USPs and the PC1000 on get right. And this is almost a throwaway round map. I didn't expect fipsid to find that first kill, but it was Threat who overcommitted towards middle. Went for the initial face there, but decided to stick around trying to find the first few kills. Gets completely flashed out of position and gives them the entrance to the map. So all the same here now. The fipsid do get that mid control once again, and they're going to be going towards B. Simple kills here as fipsid and Forest get dropped, and the B site is fully open now.
And this starts to chisel away. It becomes elusive for NiP. Thankfully, have secured overtime point already, but job not done. We're going to go the distance as NiP looks to try and save this AK that Get Right has. Exist is there to try and get more information if they do walk through Squeaky, but it's Bondic to check this angle, and he's aware that Get Right might be here. He's going to find that kill, and now it's up to Exist to try and just get back to that rifle, which, given his HP and Bondic's aggressive stance, it's not going to happen. And there we go, round 30, and overtime looms because NiP now isn't exactly in the best position money-wise. They do have 5150 on Exist, but 3950 only on freiburg. Threat at 3500.
This is exactly why I said they should consider saving that round. It wasn't worth it. They tried to close it out too early. I really would have suggested let's make sure we have a decent buy if we are going to make it to the latter stages of this game. But here we go then, the final round. We've got the full distance here and going into it, and there's a timeout coming in for the CTs, and why not? They haven't used it yet. Threat, you can see on your screen right now, just working out how they're going to approach the situation. The money isn't great, like you said. It's around like 4.4k, I think, average. So they do have enough to get the rifles out. They could get a glass cannon off. They really wanted to. I feel like they can just get make sure they get the utility, get a couple of pharmacists out there, make sure they have the grenades. But yeah, this is an interesting finish to this first game of the major here. We knew it was going to be a closer game. Obviously, NiP with their full squad would have been heavily favoured going into this one, but it's balanced out very effectively. You can see fipsid need one more, and they're going to take this time as well to work out how they're going to approach the situation.
I'm just looking, because you say glass cannon. It's Exist that would have to buy the AWP. But in this situation, and I'm just checking the money, is it almost worth it to let Forest buy the armor and drop him the AWP?
Well, that means that Exist won't have a weapon, right? He'll be on a pistol.
I mean, he could force out a FAMAS for him. That's the difference. But it's a glass cannon FAMAS then, which isn't really a glass cannon. It's a glass PP shooter. What would we call that, Henry?
We're not making up more names on the spot here.
It's the Jaden buy. We've got the Jaden round, then we have the Jaden buy. It's the glass cannon FAMAS.
Okay. Well, we can come up with those after the game, maybe.
Don't take this away from me, Henry.
But yeah, we can see the buy now coming in for fipsid. They obviously going to have the 4 AKs. I think World Edit has got an AWP. I'm going to go check and spawn and see where that has been dropped. Actually, there's an AK on the floor. Oh, is there not?
No, there's an M4 dropped over. I don't see it yet either.
Okay, maybe they haven't going to be going with the 5 rifles. Obviously, they get the time as well in this tactical time. They can think, well, we can throw a little bit of a spanner in the works here. We could go for a full-on rush. We could do something a lot more simple. We've been playing very slow Counter-Strike so far, more defaults and then executions and some fakes, and we're going for a lot of heavy mid-control here. So for me, if I was NiP, I'd be calling, well, mid's been a massive issue for us. We're only playing 1 player there. Most rounds, we have tried it with 3 a couple of times. Maybe this is time for fipsid to say, you know what, we're just going to rush B. They're going to try and adapt to what we're doing right now. Let's do something much quicker. Let's try and get in there and apply the pressure as fast as we can. There's obviously a different setup will be coming from NiP. They're going to be stretched thin in this last round. So mind games coming into full effect right now, in my opinion.
I'm trying to hold in a sneeze.
How's it working?
I'm looking into the light. I'm good now.
Okay.
It's because I'm allergic to your... Yeah, you know how that works. It was good. I mean, this is the thing we talked about. We are back underway now, as a matter of fact, so if we could cut back to the end, that'd be lovely. But it is the situation where we said that late timeout, best of 1, fipsid, definitely in the upper hand, but they do go for the double FAMAS glass cannon. Oh, they did drop it, so there you go. They did do exactly that. They dropped it over to Forest. He's got the armor, and he in turn threw back a FAMAS, which Threat grabbed. And Exist gets a rifle. So they did a bit of shuffling, gun shuffling, about a 3-way shuffle to make this buy work out.
Yeah, Forest has been known to get these first picks. This time will be back towards middle, so this is the adjustment.
And Exist in this position. We haven't seen this boost in the corner yet, and without armor, that's actually a decent position to be in because you're supposed to get the surprise, you get the drop on the shots, you can get one, potentially take no damage in turn. So this is actually quite smart from NiP in this position.
Yeah, it's a good adjustment, I would say. We'll see what they can bring to the table. No fast play coming in from fipsid just yet. They are going to be committing 4 players towards the A side. And here's the smoke. They didn't commit to this last time. They waited to see what the CTs did to reply. And a flashbang going in, and this could be the play now from the terrorist. Bondic has good control of middle once again, but Forest is going to be waiting for him.
And Threat's going to get forced out of middle. Once more, simple Molotov to do so. Bondic and Blade will take those positions, and Blade's already inside the vents as well. Now that's blown out. freiburg will have heard that. Although he was flashed up, so I'll be interested to see with that ringing of his ears if he did or not, because he hasn't considered the second possibility from that checker room just yet. And Bondic in a perfect position. He's going to find Get Right rotating. He's going to have an advantage for them early on, make it doubly so. His Blade does walk out, and Freiberg has no response.
Very difficult situation now. You can see Blade has got full control of the CT spawn area. Threat drops, and that's the round tied up. It's almost certain we're going to overtime here. Forest and Exist is stuck on the other side of the map. Exist really wants this boost to work out for him, but the bomb will be planted at B here. And a very simple procedure there. Great control from Flipside there. Bondic getting the mid positioning, and then Get Right just runs to a certain death there as he went for the rotation. Actually a very impressive round from Flipside. Another Fate coming in. We talked about their T-sides being well oiled and having lots of different depths to their strategy book there. So the Fate coming in works out perfectly, keeps two CTs towards A, even though it's a full B attack coming in. Very confusing for the CTs now, and that's the round over, I would say. Ooh. Some souvenir kills coming in for Forest potentially, but they're not going to be able to win this round.
Yeah, unfortunately, we will go to overtime from NiP's perspective, because this puts pressure on the fact that they are, again, playing with the coach. It would have been nice to get away from this game, get that one done and dusted, go back to the hotel tonight and make sure they go over all the issues that they had, the little cracks in the armor that Threat does potentially wear, but it's not going to be done so easily, as Flipside have done an excellent job to pull this back.
Absolutely there. Well, it all came down to that round when it was pretty much a 4-spy from Flipside with Tech-9s and a Deagle. And the 5-on-4 with the bomb planted, NiP could have just kept the gun and had a very strong buy going to the next round. Not had to go for that full eco, but it's going to be Flipside bouncing back and take a lot of mental fortitude to come up with the plays there. We told them to take the time out for the NiP, but just a really nice round there. Textbook CS from Flipside. Take all the attention towards the A-bomb site, have one person lurking towards middle, then go towards B. You've got everything set up for any rotations. It just worked out perfectly for them.
And it was, I kind of touched on it, that NiP was putting a lot of mid-pressure on the CT side, and there wasn't much T-side pressure from Flipside, but late in the half, it was well read, because NiP started to get away from that. We saw Threat rotating much earlier. Had that great round where he showed up into A to close it out with 2 kills.
Sure.
And then once they realized, okay, wait, mid doesn't have as much defensive prowess anymore. Let's go back and try and take care of it. So Flipside read that extremely well.
The thing is as well, Forest has been fantastic in that first half and then beginning stages of the CT as well. But as soon as he got the AWP out, that's when he seemed to drop off a little bit, I have to say. Like he was getting a couple of opening kills here and there, but wasn't really lighting the world on fire with multiple frags or having clutches with those. It was when he had the rifle in his hands, that's when he was doing most of the work there. As soon as the AWP came out, that's when it looked a little bit rocked. They weren't really controlling middle at all. He was going towards B, then sometimes going towards A. Threat left alone in that mid area, that's when they had serious problems there. He was unable to find multiple kills there. He's normally getting taken down without anything whatsoever. So they were adjusting their setup. It was just every time it did, Flipside are doing something different.
And we did see Threat get complemented by Exist in a few particular rounds as well, and even that was still a struggle. Every time you start a sentence, by the way, with "the thing is," I expect you to put on Thorn Beard.
Oh, really? Yeah. I can do that if you want.
Yeah, please.
We still have it kicking around.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure Richard Lewis has it like on his wall at home. Fantasizes about Thorin when he's not with him. You know, that duo, the dynamic duo.
Well, that aside, we are getting into the overtime now, so we'll have a look at the buy coming in. Forest will indeed be on the AWP this time. Decent swarm from as well. This is the chance I'm seeing. You know, guys, I'm taking the game to them. I'm going to go for the initial phase here. I'm going to try and do something with it. And so we'll be going for more of a conservative approach here. We'll be smoking towards middle. Making his way towards highway, though. Still has the option to do something with this. As he goes towards the A-bomb side. World Edit is going to be boosted up towards middle. Looking for that initial frag here. You can see there is heavy presence this time from the CTs. Not just leaving Threat by himself. It's going to be the 3 players towards mid. Freiberg, of course, in the vents. And we'll be backing up Get Right. Forest alone is the turret on the A-bomb side.
So MR3 10K, as per Valve standards for the majors. I only specify that because some tournaments have elected to go MR5 in the recent past, but keep in mind as well, in the MR3 format with 10K, buying AWPs, if you lose 2 in a row and you're heavy on the buys, you can potentially be in a save 3rd round.
Especially with the double AWP setups, which a lot of teams will bring to the table in overtime. But here we go, then Exist going for the boost now.
And we haven't seen this boost yet. This is the first time they've gone this aggressive. The NATO indicator going for this. Bondic still finds the shot, though. Exist, you would have bet your house on it, surely, that he would have got the jump on that, but Bondic's there. He's aware of it. Good push in, this time by Threat through the smoke. Flashes back to make sure no one at drop will catch him. So smart by Threat to make sure he's safe and takes the damage right back to them, but look what it's done, because with Vents control, they've got 2 players waiting in B for them to drop out of that.
And what can Get Right do in this position? 3 players, including the bomb as well. Bondic holding for rotations there towards middle, and it's another boost coming in potentially from the CTs. Get Right needs to hold on here.
And this boost will be late because they're already in the B site, but it does give them good position in B main to try and flank it out. But Bondic again is going to spoil it. He finds Freiburg. And this first round is Flipside written all over it in print for Forest again for the same reasons we mentioned, to save this AWP.
Bondic, it seems to be in the perfect place every single time. Another CT boost coming in, and regardless of how they approached it, he was just ready for them. And he gets 2 kills this round. And Threat, after the initial pick as well, like you said, it was a clever play from him to actually go in and find that kill towards middle. He did it, but unfortunately now Forest does drop the AWP in the end. So money's still not an issue going for this one, but if they were to lose this round, the last one of the half becomes very difficult procedure for them. Flipside taking that pretty easily, I would say, towards middle once again. Round number 2 now. No AWP this time for Forest, which I like. Like I said, it seems like he kind of has dropped off a little bit since he has been AWPing. I prefer him with the rifle in his hand. That's when he was going absolutely sick in the first half, clutching all over the place and multiple kills coming his way. And of course, World Edit with that AWP has a decent spawn towards B as well. Could go for this initial phase straight up.
I wonder as well if they're going to try and bring out unorthodox plays. The boost we saw twice there from NiP. If they try and go for the skylight boost in that one, they are ready for this though. And this is something that World Edit has been prone to do. When the flash, or a smoke rather, comes out from that B main position, World Edit will often sit with the AWP and watch that skylight. So probably wise they didn't go for it at NiP. That's actually, if you go back to the qualifier, something they did at Tempo Storm to shut them down.
Default play now coming in from Flipside. Just seeing if they can do anything. This AWP did scout towards B at the start, but now coming towards middle. The smokes have dissipated for the CTs. They've only got 1 incendiary remaining as well, so with a minute remaining, they need to make something happen here. If they were to get fully executed onto, it'll be a very difficult hold for them. Exist makes his way towards A main. This is something, but it's not a great position so far. If someone was to face, he's going to be punished for that.
World Edit again out middle, so once more, Flipside have map control to work with. Forest and Freiburg inside B together. It looks like they will take that bomb blade through the vents. He's committed. He's dropped out, so it will be a B play. Bondic spots one. That's Get Right. At least sees him in turn and doesn't go down. Keeps him alive and relevant for the retake. But first and foremost, they've got to get that bomb planted if it is going to be a retake. And that means confronting the 2 players inside of B who set a crossfire and find 2 for the price of 1 in change. It's going to be Forest to get Markelov, add to the total. And World Edit in a very awkward and dire position. And the checker room does fall to Forest as well.
There it is. As soon as he gets the M4 back out, Matt, he gets 4 kills. This is what they need to be doing. The AWP hasn't been working out for them, but that M4 crossfire setup they had, Freiburg just doing a little bit of damage there for Forest as he cleans up with 4 kills. They even knew he was on the bomb side there as well. It doesn't matter for Forest. He steps up and gets NiP the round single-handedly there. So AWP comes out back again for NiP, but it's looking like Get Right looking to use it. I'll have a look at this spawn and see if he's got something in mind. It's not even a fantastic spawn. He just fancies holding it himself by the looks of things. As we go into the final round here, the first set of overtime. The planned. We'll be flashing towards A main.
So Forest and Bondic again continuing to be the impact players. We've seen it in both rounds so far of overtime. Remember, 1 for 1 means full buy. Last round of the first half. And Get Right on the AWP this time, so maybe they've recognized the same thing you did, Henry. Let's leave Forest on the AWP, or rather, excuse me, on the rifle.
Yes.
And get the AWP into different hands for whatever it's worth. Oh, World Edit, good spot. Finds Exist lurking, but there it is. Get Right, immediate response.
4 and 4 now, but Flipside still have plenty of time to work with. They don't have to commit just yet. The bomb is still towards middle as well, so couldn't really go in with that pick alone. But the 4 and 4 does favour the terrorists in this sort of scenario. You can see Threat now alone on the A site. He has struggled in these 1-on-X situations. And Get Right with the AWP back towards middle, seeing if we can find that next pick.
It's Threat this time. That'll play anchor in A, because Get Right's gone back toward mid, as you mentioned, with that AWP. Shara getting away from the B site does start to indicate this could be an A play. Markelov's already gone towards Squeaky as well. Smoke out in front of Threat. Mark's going to go ahead and Molotov off toward the forklift. It'll be to no avail because no one playing in that position just yet. But is this another fake? Because Bondic and Shara have middle. They're either buying time to let Bondic get in a better position, which appears to be the case, or if Shara had found an opening toward vents, perhaps gone back to B, but it is going to be the split. Get Right's waiting, but he's not sure which direction to look first. Doors open. Threat needs to confront that because Get Right needs to turn back and find Bondic, which he does do quite successfully. Another up close shot, and perhaps this is the right call, giving Get Right the AWP.
It seems that way, Matt. Close range or potential from Get Right there. Finds 3. Great work from him and the A-side attack. And like we said, Flipside did have the advantage of that 4 and 4. They went for the full execute, but Get Right is standing strong there. Freiburg chiming in as well. And it's going to be 2-1 in favour of NiP here. as we go into the second half of overtime here. The CT side has been a problem for NiP. For them to actually win that half is very impressive indeed. It looked like Flipside had full control in the first round, but the adjustments coming in from NiP, as soon as Forrest gets back on that rifle, that's when things started to look promising once again. So I'm sure they'll probably continue that trend. Stick with 5 AKs on the terror side, I would say. It's not worth taking him out of the equation in terms of the close range battles.
So well done for NiP to hold for 2 on the CT side. Remember, both the regulation halves were in favor of the terrorists.
Yes.
9-6 as well, so it was effectively a 2-1 scoreline, 2/3 of the rounds going one direction, which does bode well, you have to say. And we do know that Forrest was big, Freiberg was big at opening up sites. Get Right's been big. It's the other two that can just sit back and try and support them.
It's the clutches as well. It seems time and time again in those one-on-one situations, Forrest is stepping up massively, and that's so important, especially when you've got a team on the back foot and you're potentially a little bit weaker going into this tournament. You want to make sure you're closing those kind of rounds out, and if you can rely on someone like Forrest, I think from memory, he's won every single one-on-one situation he's been in so far. I think there's been like 2 or 3. And,
yeah, I think you're right, because Get Right was the only one that went down because he was forced to plant the bomb.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's been absolutely stellar in terms of actually finding them rounds here. So, like you said, going into the T half, this is where they have been stronger as well. So this is looking very good indeed for NiP going into the second half of overtime here. Flipside did a great job in regulation time, getting themselves back into it, grinding the economy down at the CTs, but everything's reset. They need to find 2 here just to stay alive in the first game of the major.
And that's the crucial part of this. Stay alive in the first game of the major, because it's Mouse Sports or Luminosity that they'll play. Whether in the upper or the lower bracket, and both those teams have massive potential. We've seen improvements from Mouse Sports as of late. And the flip side is Duncan Said has been the team in this group that has had the least amount of impact in previous majors. So it was almost a gift that NiP get to play them early, but this much struggle indicates that things only need to be improved, and they've got to get through this one to do so.
And we are going into the second half now. It's going to be that double orb setup we saw in regulation on the flip side. Didn't work out initially, but did pay dividends towards the end. And NiP, like we said, very simple plays on their T side. Looking like more the same as that contact play towards B. Initial smoke to take away the vision from the AWP, and Markelov is going to swap that, but no player spotted just yet. There's a huge gap though. He could actually capitalize on this. We'll see how NiP decide to go, and he's going to find the first kill. I was about to say, as he gets flashed off, has to fall back now. So NiP dodging death.
Markelov looked like he was considering running toward Checker for cover, but the Molotov comes out. He still manages to hit threat in the open despite having a terribly off angle. The Molotov behind him, and he had nowhere to cover, but Get Right finds him instead. It's Shara, re-entrance, and Freiberg thankfully turns back to find him, because that could have been awkward. And a good position from Get Right. Post-plant goes immediately through CT spawn and cuts off before they can arrive on the retake to catch World Edit. It's Bondic and Blade. They need to find an opening fast in this situation. They both do have kits, but a good flash out. Bondic's going to get delayed even further, and with the double op purchase and both ops down, do they elect to save it? Blade's going to go. He finds Freiberg. Immediately, Blade's not exist as well, and now it's Get Right. 1 versus 1 versus 2. He's going to close it out. There's the clutch from Get Right. His statistics in those situations.
I had to look down at the NiP guys there. It was a massive sigh of relief there. It looked like a round they had to win in that situation. Comes down to the one-on-one again, but it's Get Right this time, stepping up in the clutch. Massive round for them. That's actually drawing things out now. One more round will do it for NiP. And it's that simple B play again, Matt. They go towards B, get full control there. A couple of Molotovs onto the side, flashbangs come in, and they're so well placed as well. You can see how uncomfortable the CTs are when they're coming into the bomb side there. Only managing to find a single exchange. Shara coming out of the vents, had to find 2 there. It was a very sloppy spray from him. He only managed to get 1 before he's killed again. And 5 people towards B for NiP. They're going to keep running this tactic time and time again.
Why not, Henry?
Why not?
If it ain't broken.
The problem is when you have no one on the other side of the map, you are fully committed. You don't know what aggression's coming from the CT, so they pretty much have to go for this now.
And the perfect scenario would be the Bondic pushes into A and realizes that they get the early rotation. Now we'll see this. Markelov lines up at least 1. It's 2 in the favor, make it now 3 in the favor, 4 in the favor as Shara mows them down of flip side. I was about to say at least they got 1 on entry, but it all falls apart.
Wow.
And perhaps you're right. If it ain't broken, well, it is. It just got absolutely torn apart by Shara.
Well, obviously it was working so well before, but the CTs have adjusted now. They were aware. As soon as they see that initial smoke coming in, they're probably ready for him, calling in for the rotation straight away. So Flipside do keep themselves in this series. Just about 1 round still separates them from being beaten by NiP here. But they tried the same tactic, exactly the same tactic once again, and this time Flipside ready to lock it down. They go into the final round here of overtime. Potentially still could be a double one. Flipside need to win this. And NiP, if they take this round, they are the winners.
So World Edit single AWP this time. He's going to anchor out and toward middle. And they've got Forrest back on the off. Now, I know you've kind of been critical of his CT side. At least on the T side, he was finding picks. So we'll see if he can do the same here. Threat, default Molotov. That's in toward the vents. No one to push out of it this time, but they were trying to make that play for Getright, who's on the opposing side of it. Shower back in again. His impact felt immediately. And Markelov, a smart smoke, will give him room to dance on the site now that the trade has been exchanged on the entrance.
4-4 now. Bomb still down towards middle, so trying to find another pick before they commit so far. Forrest unable to find anything with the orb so far towards middle. We'll just be holding up for any CT reactions and aggression. That's what the T's are banking on right now. He will be boosted up towards mid. But we'll have a look at the CTs, what they've got planned. It's just going to be Blade towards middle by himself, going for the face as well. Not going to be checking the boost area. And he's up against it. And we have actually got Exist towards Checkers towards B. So if he can find a pick here and open it up, that'll peel away CTs from A, and that's a dream scenario. This is all down to Exist now. If he can find something here, this could be the round over for them.
And he's going to try and work slowly. Unfortunately, okay, well, it works out. I was going to say slow enough to walk into the clutches of World Edit, but a missed shot. As Exist turns back to find Markelov staring him down, it actually works in their favor. 3 versus 3. Still, though, 30 seconds. And they need to figure out exactly where the D is playing, where the CTs are, and Forrest finds Blade. Now it looks very probable for NiP to close out this first game of the major. Threat's going to take down Bondik, and it all comes to the shoulders of Markelov. And he doesn't have the angle from Highway as he does try and approach. No kit, no armor, a desperation looms in the breath of anxiety as Markelov needs to try and get closer and closer, and a flash will buy more time. And it's just a matter of time, really, before he's found, because he's got 3 against him with Threat well and truly burrowed into the long hallways. First one not successful, and that allows the bait and switch. Freiburg comes out. It's NiP overtime in our first match in the North American Major, but it's NiP into the upper portion of Group A.
So even with a coach, they're still winning games consistently. Now, as we know, Threat has to play the rest of the tournament. They've started, so they'll finish with him. But what a great opening game for them. He was actually pretty good at some very high impact frags from him in key rounds. It wasn't getting like setting the scoreboard on fire or anything, but he stepped up when he had to.
And Blade,
that's got to be
he's always got a deep look on his face of, I guess, thought you could call it in simple terms, but you know that this for them was a chance. NiP, coach playing, you had to think this was their chance to get into the upper bracket. And best case scenario for NiP as well, it's the first game in the morning, which means they've now got all day. If they played tonight with Threat as their first game and then played again tomorrow, they don't have as much time to sit and look at the demos, go over some finer details with a comb. Now that it's the first game, they've got all day today to go back to the hotel, sit, think about, okay, Threat did this, did that, what can he do to improve, how did they play with him, and they've got a lot of time to talk about it, so it works out well for them.
Shout out to Forrest as well, like the way he was playing, especially on both halves, the clutch situations he was getting himself into and winning them time and time again. He was so instrumental, and I mean, even just getting the amount of rounds they did, so many clutch situations going in their favor, and a massive play from him as well. Bondik, especially as well on their T side, he had such great positioning, great rotation kills as well, very influential to all the rounds the flip side got, but there it is, overtime in our first game, and I have to say, I think we all expected NiP to still clinch this one, pretty much in that sort of fashion. Should be a very close game where they'd be the ones to just about get over the finish line.
Remember though, if they go up against, let's say, according to how we're all predicting this, if they go up against Luminosity right away, come back down to play the best of 3 for the decider, they have to win a best of 3 against Flipside, who just took them to overtime in one map, and a good map for NiP, Cash, something we normally talk about being quite successful, or a best of 3 against Mouse Sports, who's been hot lately, and a Nico that's been absolutely on a tear. So this is still a very tense group for them. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion with Threat in the lineup.
I know all the grenades, so I feel very rusty, but as a team it works.
It seems to be working well. I have to ask you, you guys weren't able to close it out in regulation time. You had to go to overtime. Who was causing problems from Flipside?
I think it was their
enormous round there out of Forest. Now, you guys are through to the next part of the groups, but you'll have to play the winner of Luminosity and Mouse Sports. How do you feel you stack up against your competition there?
It's going to be a very tough game. Probably going to be Luminosity, since they made 4 grand finals in a row, I think. So it's going to be a very, very tough game, but hopefully we can come through and make a good game out of it.
All right, well, Threat, congratulations on a big win. I know a lot of people were excited for you. The chat blew up. Over 750,000 people watching you play here today. Guys, that's going to do it for us on the floor. Let's send it over to the analysts with Sir Scoots.
Thank you very much, Chris, and again, congratulations to Threat. You know, obviously he bottom stacked for his team, but again, had some clutch rounds. Absolutely, that 1-3K. We do have some highlights we're going to show a little later, but I think you kind of mentioned it off camera. Bondic, like, really stepped up, and to a lesser extent, even the new guy on the team in the sense of nature, Shara, actually had some really good rounds, but again, took him to overtime, but not enough.
It was a classic flip side performance. I mean, look, we'll break down NiP.
We will make them cry. Throwing flashbang. Deploying flashbang. Smoke! Negative. Grenade. I'm throwing a grenade. Throwing fire. Deploying flashbang. Smoke! I'm throwing a flashbang. Flashbang. Grenade.
Towards the mid area, Threat was pushed off time and time again, and you saw actually NiP seemed a little bit lost on CT side there. They were making all these gamble reads of having get right, like rotate over really early, whereas classically you want him to come in last.